Very warm good day, guys. Welcome back again. I am your host, Dr. Sachin Yadav. So today we are going to learn about the mandible, okay, or lower jaw, which is forming one of the separate bone of skull, and it is the largest and strongest bone of the face. It has a horseshoe-shaped body which lodges the teeth, and a pair of rami which project upward from the posterior ends of the body and provide attachment to the muscles. So we will see the details about the body of the mandible. So this is the body of the mandible. You can see from this and this part. So each half of the body has outer and inner surfaces and upper and the lower borders. Means two surfaces, two borders. So the outer surface presents the following features. These are the symphysis mentae, which is the line at which the right and the left half of the bone meet each other, and it is marked by a faint ridge. You can see, you can feel here, this is a ridge. Then below that, there is the elevation that is known as the mental protuberance. So mentum is meant by the chin. So this is a median triangular projecting area in the lower part of the midline, and the anterolateral angles of this protuberance forms another small elevations known as mental tubercles. So you can see and feel here, this is the mental tubercles. Then you can see on the surface of the body there is a foramen on each side. So that is known as the mental foramen, and it is lying below the interval between the premolar teeth. So there are two premolar teeth in adult bone. So that is in between these two premolar teeth. Below that there is mental foramen. Then the oblique line, you can see this is the oblique line. So it is the continuation of the sharp anterior border of the ramus. Okay, so this is oblique line, and it runs downwards and forwards toward the mental tubercle. If you can see and feel it, right? Then this is incisive fossa. This is the depression that is present below the incisor teeth. The incisor teeth socket are here, and this is incisive fossa on each side. Then we learn about the inner surface. So what are the features on the inner surfaces? So are you ready? Okay, so this is the mylohyoid line. You can see, so it is a prominent ridge that runs obliquely downward and forward from below the third molar teeth to the median area below the gentle genial tubercle. So you can see this is the genial tubercle. Okay, and below the mylohyoid line, the surface is slightly hollowed out to form the submandibular fossa. That is submandibular fossa, and it lodges the submandibular gland. Okay, one of the salivary glands. Okay, and above the mylohyoid line, there is another fossa that is known as sublingual fossa, and it lodges the sublingual gland. The submandibular fossa and sublingual fossa above and below and above the mylohyoid line. Then the posterior surface of the symphysis mentae, you can see here, is marked by four small elevations, and these are called the genial tubercles. So these are termed as superior and inferior genial tubercles. Then mylohyoid groove is there, present on the ramus. You can see on the ramus, and it extends onto the body below the posterior end of the mylohyoid line. So now the upper border. So this upper border is also known as the alveolar border because it is having the sockets for the teeth, and the lower border of the mandible you can see here. This is the lower border, and it is also known as the base of the mandible. So whenever we call the base of the mandible, then you have to consider it is the lower border of the mandible. And near the midline, the base is showing an oval depression. You can see and feel it here. This is a depression here on each side, so that is known as the digastric fossa. Got it, guys? Very good. So we have completed this body of the mandible. Now we'll come on the ramus of the mandible. So you can see here, this ramus is quadrilateral in shape and has two surfaces. The lateral, that is outer, and the medial, that is inner surface. The four borders, that is upper, anterior, posterior, and inferior. And it is having two processes. Anteriorly it is the coronary process, and posteriorly it is condylite process. Got it? Then the lateral surface. The lateral surface is flat and it bears a number of oblique ridges. If you can feel see here. So the medial surface is there and it presents the mandibular foramen you can see here. So it lies a little above the center of the ramus at the level of the occlusal surfaces of the teeth, and it leads into the mandibular canal which descends into the body of the mandible and opens and continue at the mental foramen. So this mandibular foramen is finally opening or ending into the mental foramen, right? Okay. Then the anterior margin of the mandibular foramen, you can see here. So it is marked by a projection, tongue-like projection that is known as the lingula. So this lingula is directed upward toward the head of the mandible. Okay, that is upward and backward. Then the mylohyoid groove is there. So it begins just below the mandibular foramen and runs downwards and forwards to be gradually lost over the submandibular fossa. Then the upper border of the ramus. So you can see it is curved downward, forming the mandibular notch. It is known as mandibular notch. Then the lower border, that is the backward continuation of the base of the mandible, and posteriorly it ends by becoming the continuation with the posterior border at the angle of the mandible. So this is the angle of the mandible. Then the anterior border. So anterior border is thin and the posterior border is thick. Okay. Now the processes. The coronate process is a flattened triangular upward projection. You can see the shape of the coronate process, and it is continuing from the antero superior part of the ramus. Its anterior border is continuous with the anterior border of the ramus. The posterior border bounds the mandibular notch. Okay, and the condylite process, it is a strong upward projection from the posterior-superior part of the ramus. Its upper end is expanded from side to side. If you can see from upper view, so it is expanded from side to side, and it is called head of the mandible. So this head is covered with the fibrocartilage and articulates with the temporal bone to form the temporomandibular joint. Okay, so this is the squamous part of the temporal bone for the articulation with the squamous part and the tympanic part of temporal bone for the articulation with height of the mandible to form the temporomandibular joint, right? And the constriction below the head here, it is narrow that is known as the neck. So head, and this is the neck of the mandible. And its anterior surface of this neck presents a depression that is called as pterygoid fovea. Okay, pterygoid fovea. Okay, guys. So we have done for this all features of the mandible here. So I know you have grasped it very well. So please, after that you have to revise, okay, and make it confirm that you have memorized all the things in your brain. And in the next video, I will talk about the attachment and relations of the mandible, the ossification, head changes in the mandible, and applied anatomy of the mandible. Okay, guys. So thank you very much for your patience to be here, and goodbye. Thank you.